Hello, I'm Brother Carter.
And I am... who am I? Okay.
Start over. Hello, I'm Brother Carter.
And I am Val.
And we have a new show called
Tasteful and Toxic.
Coming out when?
Every Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. Check us out.
Tune in. Hello, this is Tasteful or Toxic with Lawrence and Val. We also have Brother AD on the show today.
What's going on?
Is it tasteful or toxic for your mate to have a relationship with others outside of...
You mean...
help me out here.
Is it tasteful or toxic for your mate to have a relationship from the opposite sex?
There we go. Start right there.
Right there.
Is it tasteful or toxic for you, Val, to have male friends that you go out to lunch and things like that with? I ain't talking about sexual contact or nothing like that. I'm talking about, is it tasteful or toxic for you to have friends
that
with
are
the opposite
sex to go out to lunch with?
Yes. Tasteful or toxic.
Well, let's not just minimize the lunch.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What you want to say? See, I see.
Because if you keep it general, I think we can really dissect this a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right. So, do I think it is tasteful or toxic to have a friend of the opposite sex, or have my wife have a friend of the opposite sex? I think.
Period. You talking about
right.
Friend. Period. Okay. I thank you for coming on to the show today.
Well, I'm glad that y'all had it. It took you long enough to bring it on. I don't know if that's tasteful or toxic.
That could be either.
Can we talk about that?
That can be both tasteful and toxic.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Say we care about you, but we ain't never invited you on.
What? All right. Well, welcome to the show again.
Thank you for having me.
So, what you asked the question: is it tasteful or toxic for your significant other to have a relationship or friendship with the opposite sex? How you feel about that?
It's challenging. It's challenging because there's so many. This is the biggest onion that we can peel back. There's so many different layers that go with that question. Mm-hmm. On the surface, I think it can be tasteful, but I also think it can be toxic. I think it's more challenging for men to have friends of the opposite sex than it is for women to have friends of the opposite sex. Let me explain what I mean.
Yeah, you got to break that down for me.
I think that for men, when we have friends that are women, most of the time our friends who are women, I think we would say would be attractive. We may not necessarily be attracted to them, but they are, I don't necessarily associate myself with unattractive folks. Sorry.
Okay. That's fair.
The folks in my crew, they look
they're going to look the part.
Okay. Right, exactly. They
pleasing
carry
to the eye.
Exactly. They carry themselves in a certain way. Now, each of them in their own right, I'm not attracted to
them
to the point that I'm attracted to my wife. Mm-hmm. But I'm not blind to the fact that they look good.
Okay.
So I think with the average guy, depending on where you are in your own personal journey, it's a challenge because you're not blind to their appearance.
Mm-hmm. Which is a man is definitely one that is, you guys are, you tune into the beauty, what you see. It's not an emotional connection; it's a physical connection.
Visualistic, should I say? You know, I like to make up words.
And you've been making up some good ones. Yeah, that's a good one. We need to put that in the dictionary. So I
don't know why Webster don't have it. Nah.
So
not my fault.
I think that because we are that way, it's challenging because if you're constantly going out, whether it's, you're going to the club, you're going to the movie, you're having lunch.
Wait a minute, that's a lot for a mate and a friend.
Well, I'm just
married, movies and dinners.
So this is before we talk about the relationship.
We're gonna try to get. I just want to know, is it tasteful or toxic?
Right.
This is more than a friendship.
So it's getting toxic now. What I'm picking up.
I haven't dove into the relationship component yet. This is just men and women being friends first. So I think it's challenging because if just a single man, a single woman are in a group and they're just friends, I think that's challenging. So to think that a person who's in a relationship, who's in a marriage, can maintain that or start something new,
right,
is very difficult, because at some point in time, depending on how often you guys are going out, depending on what it is you're doing, y'all could be workout partners, y'all go to the gym together, like whatever.
You may not be attracted, but the
at some point in time,
person may become attracted
or
to you.
you may become attractive. At
well,
some point
here's
in time.
my thought on that. I think it's toxic. It's one thing. I think
for the relationship.
For the relationship,
Okay.
And here's why. I think when I was in high school, my best friends, I had two best friends which were males. And then as I grew older and mature in my relationship, they took a different seat. They were still my friend, but they were my friend over here. And that's where you have a responsibility as an individual to respect your relationships and
100%.
put boundaries up. And so, and if they're your friends, they'll understand it.
Right.
So for women, me knowing that, thank God they never crossed the boundaries as we were young adults, young kids.
Yeah.
But who's to say if that relationship continued on into adulthood that someone wouldn't cross the boundaries or something? Because so for me, it's toxic. What about you?
I think it's toxic myself, especially, and I'm talking basically on being married.
Okay.
I'm not talking about friendships, because friendships is tasteful. It's okay. But when you're married, I don't.
Or if you're dating or in a committed relationship.
Committed, okay, we can even go there. In a committed relationship, I believe is toxic. Not only for the relationship, but for you as an individual, depending on who you are and as an individual and where you are in your life, as far as confidence in yourself and
So can
ability to have confidence in your significant other to go somewhere with someone.
Would you want me to go somewhere with the opposite sex?
Want
At any
is a
point.
strong word. Be okay with, I think, is different.
Would you be okay, or would you be? Yeah, that's a better word. Would you be okay with me going on a lunch or going to? I wouldn't say a movie, because a movie is just too.
That's too intimate.
That's too big. Yes, but going on a lunch or having a meeting at a restaurant.
Well, this is Tasteful and Toxic with Lawrence and Val, right?
Yes.
And I am not very discreet in my.
That's
And
why
so
we love you.
I am more afraid today of you going out with somebody of the same sex
Okay. Okay. That's why
versus the opposite sex.
because it's just that's good.
Because it is just as bad with the same sex right now as it is with the opposite sex. So I think it's you have to be okay in your relationship. Is what I'm saying.
So what I'm hearing you say is it's one thing for opposite sex, but it's also the same thing for a female.
Right.
So what you're saying is the relationship secure?
Right.
So if our relationship is secure,
right.
How do you feel about me going to lunch with the male?
Don't you have business luncheon with people outside, female other than females?
Yeah.
These things take place. I'm confident enough in our relationship.
Say that, baby. Did y'all hear him?
It's not toxic to me.
Okay,
For you
then.
to
Y'all
be
heard that, huh?
Somewhere that don't mean go ask my wife out for a date.
Yeah.
That don't get it twisted. Now.
You go get them right.
Tread lightly. Tread lightly.
Yes. Don't get it twisted now. But I know I don't have a problem with that, because you're an entrepreneur, and some entrepreneurs may be male, and and I cannot be available at every encounter you have with meetings outside of me. So
what gives you? And I'm sorry, anybody can jump in because I know this is your show. What gives you that confidence with your mate to say, okay, they're an entrepreneur, or they may be they're meeting with other opposite sex. They're having a business meeting.
I trust my wife.
There you go.
We were watching, because there's this big Abigail. I don't know if you you watch Vanderpump Rules.
I've heard of it, but I don't watch it.
So there's this big reality TV blow up that is taking place because
the cheating thing, right? Yes,
because
I heard about
there's a young man. Well, he's not. Technically, he's still young, but he's a young man who was in a relationship for a very long time, over 7 years, and he and his significant other have a mutual friend who's a woman, and for about 7 to 8 months, he had been having an affair with a friend. Girlfriend knew nothing about it, and then it just blew up on reality TV. So one of the things that I was telling my wife when we were watching it, her question was how could she be okay with all of those things that was going on, because the boyfriend and the best friend would go out to clubs and things like that and parties.
She knew what was going on.
Well,
the wife knew what was going on.
The
woman know what's going on.
What I would
she
say,
was just afraid to speak up. The woman knew. Here's my toxic side.
Sound like you're getting very toxic right now.
It's very personal for me. A woman knows when her man is
cheating,
when
and she
knows. Yeah.
What I was saying from a friend, and I was using an example of my wife. I was like, if
friend was a friend to the
both
the
girlfriend
the couple.
and yeah. So
why they ain't hanging out with us?
what I would
So
what
they
I
was just
saying,
friends,
But they ain't coming to my house. That's why I'm very selective.
they was just friends, not us.
I'm very selective of who can come across the Carter.
This is the
threshold.
toxic side, y'all.
Okay, I'm
Tasteful
sorry.
and toxic.
If I invite
for sure.
you into my world, you're special. And if you cross the line,
you have a friend, and we go out together, then you'll have a problem with that.
What you mean?
So what I was saying.
Okay, no. He asked me a fair question.
Because it's going to his question.
Brother,
It's going to his question. Hold on.
Son.
Stay with me. So the question that he posed was the same point that I was making. I was like, if you guys are genuinely friends and y'all have been friends for an extended period of time, I don't think that you would have an issue in that environment, because they work in a bar, they work in the club, so that's the lifestyle that they're in. So if they're going to another club together, I don't think you would have an issue with that. Number one. Number two,
her friend is a bartender.
They all work in a bar. One is the two girls are bartenders. One may be like a waiter, things like that. So I'm coming to you. Hold on. So what I was saying to my wife,
I
was
wish
like,
we had camera here.
if this is your best friend and your boyfriend who work in the same environment, you guys are going out frequently. This is a part of your day to day. If they go do that, together while you're at the house, I don't think that I don't think that you would have an issue with that, because that's the environment. I'll give you an example. We grew up going to church, right? If your best friend and Brother Carter's best friend is the same person, and there's this church conferences going on down the street, I don't think you'd have a problem with them going.
But here's where my problem is. We work at a bar. We're drinking liquor. We're drinking. No, and you're not. Hello, for the people in the back of the room, there is alcohol.
So not even to not to discredit what you're saying. I mean,
there are church words being spoken.
If you take their environment and just make it to one that's more conducive to your own.
Yes.
So if we say, okay, TD Jakes is coming to a church here in Houston, and you're not a big fan of TD, but Brother Carter and y'all's best friend is. So they say, well, let's just go. It's this Saturday night, and then he's preaching Sunday morning. We're gonna go Saturday night, go back home, and then we'll go Sunday morning. I don't think you'd have an issue with that if they just went together. Would you?
I'm toxic. I would just show up.
Well, let me just
even
say
if I don't
this
want to
here.
be
Here's
there.
the thing. I've been
She don't want
taught.
to answer that question.
I'm going to answer. Watch me ball down this
She's
alley.
not gonna go for that.
Let me tell you why I'm not. When you open up the gates,
Oh, hell.
you open up the gates for the possibility. Because here's the thing. You. But that Jezebel,
Not Jezebel.
that Jezebel. See, you know what your intent is. That's your intent.
It's
But what
just to
you've
go
done,
to the church
you just to go to the
function.
church function. Y'all know
And
it's
we gonna
about
drive back
and
home
y'all
the
gonna,
next day.
and then we're gonna come back again. That Jezebel, before she got dressed, she put that makeup on a certain way. She made sure, she looked in that mirror, she made sure everything was fit. Jezebel was ready for it. She was ready for it. Look at Abigail. Abigail, I'm going to handle it. No, I'm toxic about that. Okay, I love you too. Okay, did it come through my pores? Stay in your lane, and I'll stay in my lane.
What you got there?
I'm Team Val on this one. I am not for those kinds of friendships. And I mean, there's obviously circumstances, right? Like if you're dating someone and let's say you just started, you just became committed within the past 6 months to a year, and they have a friend of the opposite gender that they've literally had their entire life. I'm not going to sit here and come in between that.
No.
I can't do that. However, your romantic relationship is your priority. So I should, as long as I feel like a priority and I feel like most of the attention is on me, then that won't be a problem. And I also feel like
I wouldn't care if most of the attention. Here's what we're not doing. Jezebel is not coming up in here.
Can we give her a different name?
No, Jezebel is not coming up in here. You just cannot.
Now, how do you know what's a Jezebel and what's not a Jezebel?
I'm gonna tell you what a Jezebel is.
Because the common woman can become a Jezebel.
Well, a Jezebel is someone. Let's just give the case in point. There was a Jezebel that came by my house. That was had been a friend for a while.
Oh, here we go. So
we had a table.
This is triggering.
we have a situation.
We had a situation. So we're sitting at the table. Okay, yeah. So we sitting. These are people. I thought this was my friend. So we're sitting at the table and we're having a conversation. This girl's having a conversation.
A tasteful conversation.
It was good. These are my girls. And so we're just talking about if something would happen. In the event, because he was sitting over there minding his own business in the family room.
A lot of times.
Yeah, and so I don't know how this conversation came up, but someone that was sitting at the table, it might have been a Jezebel. But anyway, might have been a Jezebel. But anyway, we were sitting at the table, and they said,
I think it
"So
was
how
another
would?"
friend
But they
raised the question.
said, "How would you feel? I mean, what's your thought on if something happens to you? Would you want Lawrence to ever remarry?"
And that was very toxic for you.
That was triggering for me. So here's what I said. I said, for me, after me, there is no one else that can measure up. No one else is going to be able to give him what I've given him. So then the person went on, because they asked him a question. So then they come back and say, well, would you have a problem with him dating? Same Jezebel. So I'm like, so now my attention went straight to the person.
Yeah,
so
antenna
then,
went up.
my antenna's up. So then the person,
straight trigger mode now.
oh yes. So then the person said to me, sitting at my table, at my breakfast table, and says, well, I think you're wrong. He should be able to just live his life after you're gone.
Yeah,
he should be able to
that's her
choose.
opinion.
You should be able to choose. You should be able to let him go and live his life. I said, it sounds like to me you will have a T-shirt on at my funeral saying, I love Val, and then waiting on him afterwards. No. When it's all said and done.
Yeah. And that's what we get on Tasteful and Toxic.
My God.
Okay, then. So.
Till the next time. God bless you. We love you.
No, we're not going yet. We ain't going yet. So that's why for me, I'm real big on, and that's just one of the incidents.
So let me ask you this.
There's multiple
Let me ask you this.
No.
Let me ask you this.
Sure.
Because I think a lot of times we act out of the experiences that we have had, whether they be positive or negative. So
Tasteful or Toxic.
had you never had a negative experience to where a Jezebel tried to come in and do anything that was manipulative like that, do you think you would still have the same position?
Yes, I would.
I would debate that, but
Well, that's okay. But you
Not
asked
that
me. You can't
question,
debate what I'm
because
saying.
I think a lot of
I'm giving you a hard time.
I think the triggering nature that all of us have is because we've been
through something
that we don't want to relive.
And I think for me, I appreciate you saying that because I said it was very triggering. You know, my father was a great father, but he was a horrible husband. And so for me, growing up in that, and then experiencing, even in our young relationship, the cheating. So that is a trigger for me.
So if you had grown up in an environment where your
was
father
healthy.
was a wonderful husband and he had healthy relationships of the opposite sex, and your mother didn't, have any issues, she had friends as well, the opposite sex, and there was never an instance where any of that was negative or there was a threat to someone trying to come in and replace daddy or mama, I think your position may be different. And that's all.
I don't necessarily know if I want Jezebel going to church.
Well, what if it's just Sarah?
Well, okay, you can call her Sarah. You can call her Karen, Becky, whoever.
Because
Eve.
Bathsheba didn't do nothing but take a bath, and she got
it could be Cleopatra.
Okay.
Okay, I just think that there are certain lines.
Yeah, boundaries are important.
It's
for sure.
so important because when you least expect it, and I'll do fairness. I'm gonna take the jokes and put it aside.
No, you're not joking.
No, I'm very serious, right? I think that there are certain boundaries in a marriage that cannot be crossed. When I'm dating and getting to know you, you're dating and getting to know someone. I would even say, and this person has been my friend through my childhood. As I'm getting more connected and we're getting more connected to the individual, then you have to put that relationship in its proper place.
Yeah. And what I will.
And can we back up just a little bit here? And let's go back to the opposed question about something happening to you and me living a life after you. Do you expect me to just
you got to sit around and miss her forever?
Not
well, you already know what the deal is. Are you trying to ask that?
No,
you won't be.
You better get a dog.
Because the
You better
question
You better
is-
get a dog. You better have good movies on TV. Whatever it takes. No, I do not.
Because I'm
parent.
telling you, you got triggered on someone else's opinion, and you lost a friend or.
No, that wasn't my friend. Because here's the thing: I saw the signs before then. She just exposed herself openly because she was always liking and commenting on your stuff, and she let herself go.
Yeah, Valerie.
Okay, hello.
You have members of your own family that
Don't look at me. I'm not in this.
desire to have me as their husband. Your
Oh,
own
Lord,
family
they are so
members.
tasteful and toxic
if
on
you're
here.
gonna cut everyone off that says they
You should remarry. I just don't.
I
I
don't
just
know.
see. You don't even know where to go with this.
Yeah, I don't know where to go with this
here.
because it is a fine line there. And,
So let me
and I
ask you a
don't
question. See, it's
understand
easy to look at it on the other side. Now, let me just say,
if something happened to me.
if something happened to you,
Yeah.
and you got your homeboys over at the house, and y'all
So I
queuing up.
think that's a difference.
No.
I think that's a difference. No, because
Abigail got the mic
well,
closed.
this is what I'm saying. So I think the two scenarios that you guys are bringing up with it being a close friend or someone who's in the circle,
in the circle.
I don't agree with that because to me, how long have you had these thoughts or desires to be with my significant other or whatever?
Who said that they
Well,
had
I'm
a
just-
desire?
I'm just-
I
I'm
mean,
just-
it
I'm
was
just saying.
just, it was just a question posed in the
walk
midst
with
of a
me.
conversation.
Walk with me. I'm not even talking about that. So because I think where she was going to go was, if you would have passed and one of your homeboys tried to, they shot at her. So I think what
Man, who's gonna stop that and them dead?
right.
That's gonna happen anyway.
So and it happens more often than not.
Right. Right
which
there at
is-
the funeral home.
which is weird. But
Right.
anyway, I think so for me. And my wife to this day, she struggles with this because I want to say early into our marriage, I made it very clear if anything were to happen to her, I'm good. That's it for me. It's not because I'm not looking for anybody else, but because we up to now we have almost 20 years of just friendship. 20 years of friendship, like 6 years of being married, and we share a 2-year-old son. So with that, it's not going to be fair for anybody else to try and come in because I'm going to always compare them to her, and they're not going to measure up.
Right.
Sorry.
True.
That's number one. Number
True
two,
that's the truth.
I would much rather invest my time, effort, and energy into my son than to try and date or try and figure somebody else out. I am 35 now. Prayerfully, my wife lives a very long time. But if something were to happen, I don't want to spend time trying to get to know your favorite color. You don't like sports.
We talked about all that.
I don't want to get into. I'm not into that. I know what I like, and
I don't want to get to know.
I don't
want
want to get to know you right now.
Right.
Now, will I still be out here trying, to date a little something?
Yeah.
I might date a little something.
How you say that?
I might date a little
Yeah.
something.
But,
I ain't gonna
but you're
commit
gonna meet me
marriage
down
now.
the road. You ain't coming to the house.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
You ain't coming to the house.
And I've been very
Well,
transparent
that's
with her.
different, and I respect that.
Yeah.
Because here's what my whole issue is. It's not that I expect that he's not going to be a man. He has to still live. But what I would have a problem with is bringing
Somebody in the circle.
Yes, sir. And then
I think if he were to if God were to send him somebody that grew up in Wisconsin or California that is not connected to anybody that you've ever known, I think that would be a different situation than one of the homegirls that was at the funeral or that worked with Val at some point.
any
That's
connections. You
different.
understand what I'm
That's
saying?
different.
Well, it's somebody
But
nice.
see, whether you talk about it or don't talk about it, those people, those persons are going to be there at the event.
Yeah.
and
Whether
ready.
you talk about
Giving
it or
remarks.
not. Yeah.
Over 2
Yes, they
minutes.
wanna go
so,
up.
Yeah, so you do more damage, I believe, to yourself.
Yeah.
Thinking upon these things versus just when death comes.
Well,
Accepting it.
I can't change nothing anyway because I'm
Right,
dead.
right.
Yeah.
But you
And
see what I'm
you
saying?
gonna be
But
focused on worshiping.
you're hurting yourself as you live.
But actually, you're
pondering
not.
on the thoughts.
But actually,
of
you're not.
something.
Actually, you're
Oh
not.
yeah, I've been there.
Okay, but I'm not
You
pondering.
can hurt yourself with that.
But for me, I don't ponder on it. I just made it clear.
Yeah.
So that has been tasteful, and that has been toxic.
No, that's not for you to say.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That was our segment of tasteful and or toxic.
Okay, so
Until the next time.